It's the beginning of the month, and that means it's time for another What to Buy episode where we take a look at all of the PlayStation 4 game releases coming up in June and look at what games you should drop your money on day of release and what games you probably would be better off waiting for a sale on. Now this episode is very interesting because we actually only have one game that I would recommend you to buy right away, and only to buy that if you're interested in it and if based on my description of that title you sound captivated by it. Now the month of June is very interesting because there are only two games that I would say to drop your money on release day. That's because with the month of June there are a lot of interesting games coming out, but some of them have me very skeptical and some of them I could see being in the bargain bin very quickly, even with games I'm personally very excited for, just knowing how the gaming climate is, knowing what games usually go on sale very quickly. We've got a lot of those in the month of June. With that being said, let's get right into this and start off with the games that I believe you should buy. First up, we have the Elder Scrolls Online Summerset. Now, obviously, you are going to be buying the Elder Scrolls Online Summerset if you're already invested into the Elder Scrolls Online experience. This isn't a game that I have to sell anyone on. If you're into Elder Scrolls Online, Summerset is going to be something to check out. However, if you're not captivated by the experience yet, I would recommend you to actually give the Elder Scrolls Online a shot because it has become a far better experience than what it initially was, and that's why we're getting more expansions and the experience continues to grow. It's kind of amazing how they turned it around with this game, but that happened with Final Fantasy XIV as well, so it's not all too shocking. The Elder Scrolls Online Summerset hits on June 5th, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are gonna pick that up if you're already playing ESO. The second game that I would say is a buy, and some of you guys might be surprised by this, but it is Luminous Remastered, which is releasing on June 26th. Luminous is an awesome puzzle-based music rhythm game. It was released on the PlayStation Portable way back, and it was ported to the Xbox 360, and now we have Luminous Remastered coming to the PlayStation 4. Now, the only thing is, we still don't have a confirmation on what the price for this game is. If it's anywhere from $14.99 to $19.99, I would say it's a buy. Anything more than that, if it's, say, $30 or, God forbid, $40, I would say wait on that. If it's $14.99 to $19.99, however, that's an absolute buy. $24.99, I'm a little iffy on it. At $29.99, I would say just wait on it. But yeah, Luminous is a great experience, and I can't wait to check the game out on the PlayStation 4. Now to move on to all of the games that I think are better off for you to wait on a sale for. First, let's start off with a game that personally we're very excited for, and that is Vampyr, releasing on June 5th. Now, Vampyr, as the title would suggest, is a vampire-themed semi-open-world RPG being developed by Don't Nod Entertainment. So far, what we've seen and heard about the game looks very positive. The story looks to be a big aspect of Vampyr, and it looks to be that is going to be one of the selling points. Early impressions have stated that the combat is a little bit clunky. That is something to bear in mind, but more than anything, I just don't see Vampyr as a game that's going to sell all too well, even though I want this game to be a commercial success because I want to see this become a staple franchise. I just don't see this game selling all too well, and I could very well see it hitting the bargain bin rather quickly. I'm talking $29.99 within 2 months, maybe even cheaper than that. Personally speaking, however, again, I'm very excited for this game, and I will be checking it out on launch day. It's just that if you are conscious about what games are going to go on sale rather quickly, I could very much see Vampyr being a game that is going to go on sale very quickly. Next up is a game that was on the precipice of being included in the buy category, and that is BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, also being released on June 5th. Now, the game itself looks really good. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle looks awesome. Stylistically, it looks great, and it's combining BlazBlue, Ruby, Under Night Rebirth, as well as Persona 4 Arena all in one fighting game. It's a 2v2 fighter, but the one thing that has to be stated every time I talk about the game is that a large portion of this roster is locked behind paid DLC. That is unfortunate, but that is becoming a regular in the gaming industry, especially with fighting games. We saw with Dragon Ball FighterZ, a large portion of that game's roster was locked behind DLC. So I guess it is to be expected, but with Cross Tag Battle, it's a significant portion of the roster, and that is just unfortunate. The game itself is being released at $49.99, so it's a little bit more of a budget price point, but still, I would say that if you're not super into fighting games, this is one where you can wait on a sale for. Maybe they'll release a complete edition, or maybe they'll release an upgraded version with all of the content in it. We've seen that happen with BlazBlue titles in the past, so I wouldn't be all too surprised in, say, a year down the line they release BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle Complete or something of that sort, and you get all of the content, a refined experience for one price. Otherwise, if you're super interested, if you like the look of the game, if you're a fan of all of the franchises, I'm not gonna hold you back from picking up BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Next up, we have a game that's seen an open beta, so some of you guys may have checked it out. I've been promoting it quite a bit, and that is Onrush, coming June 5th. Now, playing the beta of Onrush, I actually had a lot of fun with it, but it has finally dawned on me that this is a $59.99 release. Wow. I was not expecting this game to be a full $60 price point. That is looking at the price over on Amazon. The physical copy of this game is listed at $59.99, and to me, playing Onrush, it just didn't seem like a $59.99 experience. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and the full game will prove me wrong. I know Codemasters is working on the game in Evolution Studios, one of Sony's first-party studios in the past. They hired a lot of the developers from that studio to work on Onrush, and you can see some of that translate through right away. But yeah, this is another game that I don't see doing all too well commercially. You aren't hearing a lot of people talk about it, and I could see this one getting pretty cheap pretty quickly. If you played the open beta and you had a lot of fun with it, by all means pick it up. It's just that if you're thinking this game is gonna get cheap pretty quickly, I think your hunch might be right on that. Next up, we have Jurassic World Evolution coming June 12th. Now, this is a city builder style game where you build a Jurassic World themed amusement park. It's gonna hit home with a lot of people, and if it hit homes with you, by all means pick it up. But the thing with Jurassic World Evolution that I am a little hesitant about is that usually these games are more centric to a PC audience, so I just want to see how this game translates over to the PlayStation 4. The studio behind the game in Frontier does have a lot of experience on doing PC and consoleized games. They did Elite Dangerous, that was obviously a PC-centric experience, but it came over to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so hopefully they can replicate a similar level of success with Jurassic World Evolution. However, this is another game that is a full price game, so if that turns you off, I can understand. But yeah, for a lot of people, this is going to be a dream-like video game, so I really can't stop those people from checking out the game. For everyone else, I would say wait on a sale, wait on the review, see how this game translates over to the PlayStation 4, and then make your decision there. Next up, we have new Gundam Breaker releasing on June 22nd. Now, the thing with the Gundam games is that unlike a lot of the other games with like Onrush and Vampyr that I see getting very cheap very quickly, the Gundam games typically retain their value, but the thing with the Gundam games is that they're always consistent in quality, and quality-wise, they are just average. They're okay games, they're never really good games, and that's what I expect out of new Gundam Breaker. Now, if you're a gigantic fan of Gundam, if you've enjoyed the games in the past, I can see why you would be interested in picking it up, but $59.99 for a game like this, I just don't think it's worth it. Even if you have to wait a year to get a decent discount on the title, you know, for $29.99 a year down the line, I would still say wait, because I just don't believe the Gundam titles are worth the full $60 unless you are a super Gundam fan, which even then, as someone that's big into Gundam, I didn't even find that much enjoyment out of the Gundam titles. And if you're not a gigantic fan of Gundam, then absolutely stay away. Check it out when it's on sale, even if that's a year, 16 months down the line, whatever the case may be. Do not pay full price for this one. Next up, we have Far Cry 3 Classic Edition releasing on June 26th. Now, Far Cry 3 is an incredible game. However, from what we've heard about Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, it doesn't seem to be too much of a remaster, more of just a port over to the PlayStation 4, which that is kind of unfortunate. However, Far Cry 3 Classic Edition is included with the Far Cry 5 Season Pass, so it's not like they were all too incentivized on making this crazy remastering on the PlayStation 4. And at the end of the day, it is Far Cry 3. The fundamentals are there. This is one where we don't know the price on. I imagine that it's going to be $29.99 to $39.99. But bear in mind that it is already just included with the Season Pass. So if you're playing Far Cry 5, the best idea might be to check out the Season Pass and then you get this as well. Standalone, we'll have to wait and see on the price, but hopefully it's palatable enough. And finally, another Ubisoft title, a title that I'm very interested in, but I'm also very skeptical of, is The Crew 2, releasing on June 29th. Now, to me, it's actually insane that how under the radar The Crew 2 is going. Nobody is talking about the game, and while The Crew didn't have a gigantic critical reception, it was one of the bigger games released earlier on in this generation, and with The Crew 2, it does look like they're ramping up the experience to a new degree. Now you've got a slew of different vehicles. In the first Crew, all you had is cars, but now you have cars, motorcycles, airplanes, boats, and they're all set to control very differently, and expect The Crew 2 to be a game with a lot of content. Now, what makes me skeptical about buying the game on launch day is the fact that this is a Ubisoft title. If you go back and look through Ubisoft titles in the last year or so, even great games like Assassin's Creed Origins, South Park The Fractured But Whole, those games release and then they get discounted so quickly. AC Origins you can regularly find for $30 or less. South Park The Fractured But Whole is available for literally less than $20 at this point. I don't see The Crew 2 faring much differently. Unless you're super interested in The Crew, just bear in mind that this game, it's almost a given fact that it is going to be very cheap very quickly. And considering that we're only a few months away from the holiday season, I could see The Crew 2 easily be down to $20 by the time Black Friday season rolls around. So out of all of these games that I'm talking about, The Crew 2 is the one that I'm super confident is gonna be a game that's gonna get very cheap very quickly, because first of all, I don't see it doing all too well from a commercial standpoint. Second of all, it's a Ubisoft game. We've seen how cheap Ubisoft games have gone recently. And third, we're just a couple months away from the holiday season, and I see The Crew 2 being one of those games. Hey, it's available for $19.99 or even $14.99, and you can check it out then. So that concludes this video. Again, as always, it's a lot of my opinion, but being familiar with the games industry for a while, seeing how game prices kind of go, I'm usually pretty close to accurate on a lot of these things, but don't take my word as absolute gospel. It should just give you an idea and hopefully point you in the right direction if you were unsure about some of these games. So as I mentioned, Luminous Remastered and The Elder Scrolls Online Summerset, those are the two games that I believe are absolute buys, and with both of them, they really cater to a certain audience, and with Luminous, it's really if they get the pricing down. We still don't have a confirmation as what it's going to be priced at. $14.99 to $19.99, I think that's a win. $24.99, $29.99 at that point, I would say wait for a sale. The rest of the games, a lot of titles I'm interested in. Vampyr is a title that I've been talking of for quite a while, but I'd be lying to myself if I didn't say that I foresee this game being very cheap very quickly. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle looks great, but I do see a definitive version of the game being released in the next year or so. The Crew 2, it's a Ubisoft game, and we've seen how that story played out, and considering we're just a few months away from the holiday season, I see this one being very cheap very quickly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some insight on June's releases. Sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.